Have you ever seen The Birth of a Supervillain? Well, I have. This is Kimberly Fletcher in 2010 at a Tea Party convention. As a part of her speech, she gives her villain origin story. Her husband was working at the Pentagon on 9/11. He made it out okay, and from that day, she has devoted her life to politics.
Let me tell you really quick a little bit about myself so you know why I'm here and why I'm dedicated to this movement. In 1985, I said I do to an officer in the United States Air Force. That really did a lot to change my life. I was raised by a mother who respected the Constitution and loved her country, and that more than anything developed my love for this nation and what it stands for. But marrying an officer in the Air Force really changes that, makes it stronger. But it wasn't until September 11th, 2001, when a plane flew into the Pentagon where my husband was stationed. It wasn't until then that I really realized the price of freedom. My husband, through a series of miracles, walked out of the Pentagon that day. I swore that day, never again. I looked at my children and I thought about Ronald Reagan's words that if we don't preserve liberty, if we don't fight for it, that someday we're going to be sitting on a porch in our rocking chair telling our grandchildren about how it used to be when people were free in America. And after I have seen the things that have happened in the last year and the tyranny and oppression that has just expanded, first of all, thank you again, President Obama, but at the same time, I look at my children and I think, am I going to be one of those grandparents that's sitting on my porch steps telling my children and grandchildren what it used to be like? Not on my watch.
There were so many choices she could have made in her life since that day. Think of all the good she could have done in the world with all the passion and the drive that she has. Instead, she chose to do this.
All Vice President Pence has to do is send it back to the states to recertify, and we become president, and you are the happiest people. We love Trump! 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 We love Trump!
We have a breach of the Capitol! Breach of the Capitol to the upper level!
Today is all about Kimberly Fletcher and the group she founded, Moms from America. They are best known as the group that pulled the permit for the Stop the Steal rally that eventually became the January 6th riot. Welcome to Drowning in Junk Mail. Hello, everybody. Today is all about Moms from America and Kimberly Fletcher, and I guess the history of the conservative women's movement in America is just as a bonus. Almost 2 years ago now, so this came in 22. I got a piece of mail from Moms from America, and I didn't really know who they were, even though I knew a lot about the January 6th riot. I didn't know this group's involvement in that day. So we're going to talk about this mail piece. I bought some merch. I got a hat. From them. And I also bought this. So we're going to be talking about we're going to do a little merch review at the end of this after I give you the history of Moms from America. Oh no, I've just ruined all of my hair. Hold on. There we go. Let's dive into the history of the conservative women's movement in America. This history of the conservative women's movement in America, I am pulling sections from a very particular book. Takahito Moriyama wrote a book called Empire of Direct Mail. It's actually a book about the history of direct mail advertising for political groups in America. And I've pulled out the sections that talk about women. In the early spring of 1954, leaders of the Republican Women's Club came to Washington from all over the country for a centennial conference in which the women attended workshops on how to organize other women back home into an army of volunteers. Each of the Republican women went back to their local club with a neat 14-pound leatherette case containing a 35-millimeter projector, which the Republican Congressional Campaign Committee provided for free. The female volunteers were able to hold political meetings in their living rooms over coffee for an intimate group by showing campaign films. Besides organizing these coffee hours, women brought the projectors and their films into service clubs, women's clubs, civic organization meetings, libraries, and churches. One Republican marveled at the Grassroots campaign during the 1954 elections, saying the volunteers toted campaign materials into places we never thought we could reach with our political message. And then I think I found the projector because I'm like, a 14-pound portable projector? That's wild. So I think I found it. It's a Holmes Navy portable 35 millimeter sound projector. It was I'm assuming these were surplus from the World War II. So these were made for the Navy for someone to take from base to base to show training films. So it was, I'm assuming, just World War II surplus, and somebody probably in the Republican committee was familiar with these when they used them in World War II. Anyway, I was so proud I found this projector for you guys. Although the 1950s advertising industry was a male-dominated arena, Republican women took part in advertising operations as well as grassroots activities. Republican Women in Industry and Professions, the RWIP, whose leadership included female advertising executives and public relations managers, sent a letter to the RNC chairman, Leonard Hall, in June of 1954. The president of the RWIP and public relations consultant herself, Kay Martin, stressed the contributions that ad women could make, claiming that the Republican Party needed an organized group at the top, mostly of public relations, editors, and advertising women who have offered to volunteer their time and at best efforts to supplement the work of the party. This very minute, I tried to find Kay Martin. I could not. There's too many Kay Martins in the world, but she sounded like she was a real go-getter. I like Kay. Martin went on to make her case that the Eisenhower administration and its programs needed to be interpreted at the grassroots level to women, and that's directly from Empire of Direct Mail. There were powerful Republican women in the advertising industry that were demanding that the Eisenhower campaign actually pay attention to women and the women's vote. It's fascinating. In response to these voices, the Republican public relations professionals mapped out a nationwide television rally of grassroots party workers with a special emphasis on women. Produced by the RNC in conjunction with the members of the Women's National Press Club and the top women's press representatives of the nation, Women Want to Know was a TV program designed with the special tastes of the housewife. As a 15-minute, 3 times a week series, the program showed the interactions of questions and answers among informed guests and an inquisitive panel of experts and a studio audience. The purpose of this series was to inform women of vital concerns to them, ranging from foremost researchers of breast cancer or how their sons could be drafted. Reaching out to housewives and female voters, Women Want to Know exemplified the fusion of political advertising strategy and grassroots efforts. And that's a direct quote from Empire of Direct Mail. I tried to find Women Want to Know, and I could not find it. I was so bummed out. I tried to find clips for you. But this show sounds like a very early version of The View or The Talk. It sounds like a hoot and a holler. Club women. As historian Kathleen Reif has argued, club women engaged in partisan politics by the 1950s. The National Federation of Women promoted women's auxiliary role, and more women than ever before became an integral part of the Republican Party during the Eisenhower period. A 1950s survey demonstrated that women composed 56% of core GOP activists, while female activists were only 41% of the Democratic Party. So I went and grabbed the Women's Club Movement of the United States Wiki page if you want to read that. So the impact of the Women's Club movement on the Eisenhower campaign cannot be understated. Those projectors were hauled into every church basement, country club meeting room, living room, and any place with a punch bowl and little finger sandwiches. At the same time, the world of political consultants had begun, and personalized direct mail had begun to ramp up. Political consultants did their best to direct a political campaign, and a part of that plan is to raise a lot of money in a very short amount of time. This is when people like Harold Orem, Martin Liebman, and Richard Viguerie began to hone their craft of creating targeted direct mail. Fundraising became decentralized. Instead of the political parties raising money on them by themselves, these political consultants like Orem, Liebman, and Viguerie, simultaneously raising money along at the same time that these political parties were trying to raise money. So instead of donating directly to political parties, people were donating to these other groups created by fundraisers. That was the 1950s. That was the Eisenhower years. We're going to skip ahead to the 70s and the Stop ERA campaign. Phyllis Schlafly had been politically active since the 1940s. She ran for office a few times, but lost. She wanted so badly to be in the room where it happened, but it wasn't meant to be for Mrs. Schlafly. In one of her many tries to get attention in hopes of being elected to office, she latched on to the ERA amendment that was being voted on at the time. The ERA did not pass because of the work of Phyllis Schlafly and her eagles. I know that top feminists from the time, like Gloria Steinem, like to downplay the impact that Phyllis and her eagles had. Gloria Steinem likes to blame lobbyists. What did you think, Gloria? What did you think Phyllis was doing, Gloria? She was a lobbyist. Phyllis had so much money flowing her way from so many directions. She essentially became a lobbyist. I'm sorry. Screaming at Gloria Steinem is like talking to my mother about Phyllis. My mom always calls Phyllis, good old Phyllis. What do I call Phyllis? Oh, I call Phyllis that that killed the ERA. When you are running a lobbying campaign like Phyllis Schlafly does, you need volunteers and you need money. So she started Eagle Forum, and then she also started all these little baby Eagle Forum clubs in every state. The one in Utah is still very active. She tapped into that same network of women that the Eisenhower campaign had tapped into all those years ago. Phyllis Schlafly taught her eagles how to fly. She taught them how to organize groups and how to lobby Congress, and she taught them how to manipulate the system to bend in their favor. The best example of this is this pamphlet that I'm probably showing you right now from Eagle Forum. It's called "The Most Powerful Office in the World is Not the President of the United States." Eagle Forum teaches people how to weasel into local politics by getting elected to precinct committee person. The precinct committee person determines who gets to be on the ballot to be elected at every level of government. This tactic of getting elected to precinct committee person directly parallels the current tactic that we're seeing right now of people getting elected into local politics by picking small roles that don't get a lot of scrutiny, like water board or school board, and eventually these people just start working up the political food chain and getting elected to higher and higher office. Phyllis Schlafly needed money to finance her movement, and so she teamed up with Richard Viguerie to run her direct mail program. These two together is truly a match made in hell. Viguerie's company, American Target Advertising, ran her direct mail campaign almost until the day she died. After Mrs. Schlafly passed away, there was a hole in the portfolio of American Target Advertising. They have a Catholic group, they have a seniors group, they have a veterans group, they have a pro-life group, they have a fake civil rights group, and a pro-cop group. But without Eagle Forum, what they were missing was a women's group. And that is where Kimberly Fletcher and Homemakers for America steps in. And this brings us all back to that empty banquet hall in Tennessee in 2010. This is all conjecture. I have no idea what happened. I'm on the outside looking in. But you know what? I see trends. I see chess pieces moving around. So let me tell you what I saw. Phyllis Schlafly passed away in 2016, and then her kids started infighting. They started like suing each other and barking at each other a lot. So her kids are fighting amongst themselves. Around this very same time, Kimberly Fletcher gives her group, Homemakers for America, a complete makeover. She got them a new logo. She got them a new name, and their new name appeals to a much wider demographic than homemakers. Moms for America. And I'm sure those silver-tongued devils at American Target Advertising were super slick with their pitch to her. Kim, we'll cover the costs of your direct mail campaign. Moms for America will get a cut of all of the money that American Target Advertising pulls in. Kim. Can I call you Kim? Kim. We're taking all of the risk on, Kim. We'll pay the copywriters. We'll pay for the printing. We'll pay for all of the postage. All you have to do is collect the money, babe. Yeah, that is the business model of American Target Advertising. So I'm showing you the old Homemakers for America website right now. If you've got I hate to say eagle eye because I already used eagle. If you've got a sharp eye, you can tell just by looking at this website that Kimberly Fletcher is Mormon. She's Mormon. She's a member of the LDS Church. She has a page on the Mormon Wiki. Her husband served in the military. They have 8 children. They were homeschooled when they were little. I can't quite figure out if they all went to at a public high school or not. At least 2 of the kids went to high school that I can figure out. All of the children seem to be adults. They're out there living their best lives. Cassie Fletcher, she works for Moms of America, and she actually did a vlog about her story in Moms of America. So I'm going to link that to you if you want to hear about how her mommy showed up one day and said, Cassie, you work for the company now.
My mom walked into my room and said, I'm hiring you, and it's going to be your full-time job, and you're making this much money. And yeah,
it's a pretty interesting story. So give that a watch. So we're deep into Moms for America. As a reaction to the Women's March in January of 2017, Mrs. Fletcher organized the Moms March for America in September of 2017. So the Women's March, that was the one with the pink hats. That was the pink hat march, and she didn't like the pink hats, and so she organized her own march at the end of the year. And that was the start of Mrs. Fletcher gathering up her people for a new movement. From the name change in 2018 until the Stop the Steal January 6th day, Moms for America was a very basic right-wing group following all of the culture war topics: border walls, illegal immigrants, getting Brett Kavanaugh confirmed as the Supreme Court. She even has an entire video about the ERA. In my notes, I actually have Kimberly Fletcher puts on the skin of Phyllis Schlafly as my note to myself on this one. But somehow now trans people are tossed into the Stop ERA mix. I don't know. It's all confusing. And then COVID happens. And she, like a lot of people, she lost her damn mind. The COVID lockdown in March 2020 happened, and she rallied moms to keep their kids in school and not wear masks and not get vaccinated, or pull your kids out and homeschool them. This new network of people would become her core following. She would lead this new group of followers to protest schools over mask mandates and getting vaccinated. She would lead them to the DC Capitol, and then she would get them elected to school boards across the country. I'm going to give you a preview of a quote here. A lot of these moms who are now active in school board races, they were election integrity activists first. And then this happened. Most people know about the events of January 6th at the Capitol building. Many people don't know that there was actually a series of rallies in November and December that led up to the big Stop the Steal event in January. Mrs. Fletcher was instrumental in connecting people across the country and organizing these events. All of the people who organized those smaller events teamed up together to put on the big event in DC. She was the one that pulled the permit for a fake group called One Nation Under God. That event, that permit eventually became the Stop the Steal rally that President Trump spoke at. Kimberly Fletcher was instrumental. There would not be a Stop the Steal movement to the degree that we were effective without Kimberly Fletcher. We got connected through an activist down south. She said, "You need to talk to her." We were on the phone, and 5 minutes later, she said, "I'm going to roll my organization into yours." And that allowed us, on the first Saturday after the elections, to be present in all 50 state capitals. Without Kimberly Fletcher and Moms from America, this would not have been possible. A lot of these moms that are now active in school board races, they were election integrity activists first, and that is from Ali Alexander, one of the organizers of the January 6th. I don't think he organized a riot, but he organized an event. There we go. So on January 5th, this is the day before the big Stop the Steal rally, Kimberly Fletcher, the Moms for America president, said she wasn't aware the Trump campaign had a role in the rally at the Ellipse until around New Year's Day. While she didn't work directly with the campaign, Fletcher did notice a shift of who was involved in the rally and who would be speaking. When I got there, I saw the size of the stage and everything, and I was like, wow, we couldn't have possibly afforded that, she said. It was a big stage. It was a very professional stage. I didn't know who was in the background or who put it together or anything. In addition to the large stage, the rally on the Ellipse featured a sophisticated sound system, and there were at least 3 Jumbotron screens projecting the president's image to the crowd. Moms for America had a more modest Save the Republic rally on January 5th, the night before, near the U.S. Capitol. That event drew about 500 people and cost between $13,000 and $14,000, according to Fletcher. So post January 6th, all throughout 2021, she spread lies about COVID-19. She was against mask mandates. And of course, her solution to all of this was to homeschool your kids. That's her true agenda. I've got a quote here. They're forcing these vaccines down our throats.
But right now, they're all buying into the bully tactic, convinced that you just need to go along and get along and continue to mask our kids and force these vaccines down our throats.
Moms have had enough of masking flip-flops. Moms have good options and we're here to help them. Homeschooling doesn't have to be scary. See what I'm talking about? In January of 2022, Ms. Fletcher pled the fifth for every question she was asked by the January 6th committee. I've got the actual transcript where she just says, I plead the fifth. Actually, she says the whole thing. It's crazy. And then I've also got her response to that. She didn't want to rat out her friends. There you go. I've saved you a click on that one. Her reward for not ratting out her friends was Moms for America was propelled to the top of the right's mom sphere in 2022. Suddenly, Moms from America is a major sponsor at CPAC, the main hub of networking and fundraising for conservatives. Oh yeah, she's got that trucker convoy thing that she did. They did a whole rap on a big truck and they drove it around. It was fantastic. They've been listed as a Southern Poverty Law Center hate group because of the anti-vax stuff, the anti-vaxxing, anti-mask mandate plus homeschooling equals hate group. It's really interesting. If you can look past all of the chatter that they do about the daily culture war skirmishes that are going on, the main objective of Moms from America is to get people elected to school boards. Each individual person may have a different reason for running for office, but the overall goal of groups like this is disruption. They want to break the public school system. They want to cause chaos and break it down so that people start begging for vouchers, or, as you can probably guess, they want people to start homeschooling their kids. Moms for junk mail. So I received this mail piece because of the Christian Action Network project I did. My name is actually, my last name, you can't, I'll probably show you a scan. My last name on this is actually Christian Action Network. So I took one look at this mail piece and I could tell that American Targeted Advertising had made this. I can actually trace the DNA of this mail piece back to the 1940s. It's pretty cool. Richard Vergary, who is in charge of American Targeted Advertising, who made this mail piece, was trained by Martin Liebman, who was in turn trained by Harold Odom, a couple of pioneers in the direct mail world. And they loved to feature opinion leaders in their mail piece. So there is a page in this mail piece. I'll probably put up the scan of it for you. So there's one page in this mail piece that is just people. They are famous people that you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know these names. And if you know these people, you're supposed to be like, oh, well, I like them. I'm going to love Moms for America. It's like, oh, these people love Moms for America. I should love Moms for America. That's the purpose of putting opinion leaders in a mail piece like this. Whenever I, Martin Liebman, organized a conservative or anti-communist group, I followed Orum's example and tried to include as many liberals on the letterhead to create the broadest possible base of support. The signature of an anti-communist group organization with which Orum and Liebman were involved with clearly demonstrated diverse supporters. It included some poets, it included cellist Pablo Casals, novelist John Dos Pecos, psychologist Carl Jung, architect Walter. Why does everyone on this list have a hard name? Why? Physicist Robert Oppenheimer, philosopher Bernard Russell, historian Arthur Schlesinger, and the American Socialist Party leader Norman Thomas, to only name the most notable. And if you saw Oppenheimer, this is the kind of thing he was getting in trouble with the government for putting his name attached to this kind of stuff. We put famous people in the mail piece to get the seal of approval. So this particular mail piece, features Jim Jordan, Orrin Hatch, Candy Carson, who is the wife of Ben Carson, Ken Blackwell, who had to look up. Ken Blackwell is the former mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio. He is currently a senior fellow for the Family Empowerment with the Family Research Council, and he's got some other stuff, but Family Research Council is the important thing. Charlie Kirk, Sam Sorbo, who is Kevin Sorbo's wife, Brad Dacius, who is the president of the Pacific Justice Institute, a major junk mail mill there, and Foster Friess, Friess, Foster Friess, and he was just some rich old guy who donated lots of money to conservative causes. And the very last name is Richard Vergary. This mail piece is not trying to create a quote-unquote broadest possible base of support. This mail piece is only appealing to hardcore conservatives. We're not trying to convert people. We're not trying to convert people here. The only people who care about Richard Vigueri is Richard Vigueri and American Target Advertising. You have got to be such a hardcore political nerd, junk mail nerd to even know who this man is. So the fact that he's there just tells me I knew he made it just when I saw his face. I'm like, come on, Richard, you're the only one who cares if you're an opinion leader. You want to get off the mailing list for Moms for America? I'm going to actually link you to American Target Advertising's opt-out page. Normally, I tell people to get off of mailing lists by contacting the group directly, but because we know this is American Target Advertising, you can skip that step, go straight to the source, go straight to American Target Advertising and opt out of their entire system. Because chances are, if you're on one mailing list, you're on all of their mailing lists. I'm going to take this opportunity to do a plug for PaperKarma. PaperKarma, the junk mail stopping app. If you do not have enough time in the world to contact every single group that is sending you junk mail, PaperKarma is the app for you. All you do, click, take a picture of the junk mail, and PaperKarma does the rest. I have a coupon code. It's DJM30 for 30% off a subscription. I might even have like a thing down here for you to scan your television with. Probably I'm going to put a QR code here. I'll definitely have my affiliate link in the description box below. All right, Moms for Merch. Let's talk about the merch and why I bought what I did. I have fully stylized my Moms for America merch as to how I would wear it if I was to actually wear this in public. I'm like CPAC fabulous right now. I've got the blingy hat and I've got my 3 string of pearls like I'm supposed to. I've got my fabulous blue eyeshadow on and my bold lip. Yes, let's go. The goal of buying all of this merch was that I wanted to get on the mailing list for Moms for America and American Target Advertising. I wanted to be sucked into their system. So I bought approximately $100 worth of merchandise between the shirt, the vest, and the little beanie hat. It was about $100. I was hoping to be put on their super fans mailing list. Unfortunately, I was not. I mean, in the end, it's a good thing because it means I'm not getting as much junk mail. It's a good thing for you. If you buy a lot of merch from them, you're not going to get on their mailing list. But quite frankly, they're leaving money on the table. Why? To me, they're not utilizing their funnels the way they should to suck as much money out of their fans as possible. Overall, I love the merch line they have created. It's very obvious that one person created the line. The one person who created Kimberly Fletcher enjoys the clothing, the items in the line. I love that Kimberly Fletcher wears the key pieces. She's always wearing her purple shirt. I've got multiple videos of her wearing the vest. She likes the stonewashed version of it. She picked things out that she wanted to wear, and I love that. I think that's fantastic. Other reasons I picked this company as the test to buy merch from is that everything comes in plus sizes, which is actually pretty rare. I could get everything in my actual size, which was nice. The core product is this purple shirt. I got the V-neck version. It also comes in a crew neck version. The thing I love about clothes is the clothes talk to you. Their tags tell a story. So I know that this blank shirt is from Port and Company, and they are a blanks manufacturer. They make shirts with the intent of them having a silk screen on them or embroidery of logos on them. That is what they do. As a shirt that you're, theoretically only wear for one day, you go to your protest and you just wear the shirt for that day. This is actually a pretty nice shirt. It's not Land's End quality, but this is a very nice shirt, and it's not going to be a staple forever, but you can wear it a few times before it wears out. The color is actually nice and vibrant on it. It's very nice. It's an excellent protest tee. The price point on it is low enough that you could bundle this t-shirt, their little trucker hat, and maybe a sign for a protest day. You charge like $40. Everyone looks great for the protest, and the charity still makes a bit of money. The hat that I got was the beanie. So we got the beanie hat right here. It is from S&S Activewear. It is acrylic. It is very, very soft and very, very thick, and is absolutely perfect for those cold January days in Washington, D.C. So Kimberly Fletcher picked an excellent hat. My only complaint is the hat that I got had an iron-on patch. I have a photo of Mrs. Fletcher at the January 6th rally. Her hat is embroidered. I would have preferred that, but I understand if you're selling a product to a price point, you've got to cut costs someplace, and this patch is obviously much cheaper than having it embroidered. The next product is why we're here. I saw this vest, and I had to have it. This vest is so outrageous. I mean, look at this thing. I cannot overstate how much I love this piece. It is in the very fine tradition of over-the-top clothing that you find in political conventions. I'll probably throw up some pictures right now of some vintage political convention pictures with people wearing great outfits. If you wore this on the floor of a political convention or a CPAC meeting, you would blend right in. This isn't even the craziest thing you'll see at a convention like that. So this vest is the curvy bottom crystal button vest, and it does have crystal buttons. They give you an extra from Distinct Apparel. So you can buy this vest as a blank from Distinct Apparel, but then Distinct Apparel also sells these rhinestone kits, which I'm assuming come in on like as an iron-on package, and so you have a professional iron them on for you. I mean, this thing is absolutely fantastic. You can, they sell little kits that you can embellish any clothing that you want. Oh my goodness, this thing is absolutely wild. I love that Moms for America actually had their logo custom made for the vest. That's really great. There is also a bling t-shirt version that has this on a t-shirt. Fantastic. The only real complaint I have about this is they sent me the wrong size. I wear a 2X and they sent me a 1X, but judging how much the 1X doesn't fit, I would have probably needed to order a 3X to get it to fit the way I like. I am absolutely terrified to wash this, so I'm probably only going to ever wash it. I'm probably not going to wear it that much. I would probably only hand wash this in a sink. There's no way I'm putting this in a washing machine. Things I would improve about the merch line. The big one I would change was the trucker hat that they make. The trucker hat is way too busy. I would remove all the words from the trucker hat. They paid really good money for that absolutely beautiful logo. I'd make that logo large, big, just loud and proud. When you look at sports teams' hats, they don't have words. We made a mock-up of what I thought if Moms for America designed the Los Angeles Angels hat, what it would look like. Way too busy. Just the logo is perfect. Personally, I think they should stay away from those novelty tees, those tees of the moment. Just stick to your core product. You should only be making those of the moment t-shirts if you have a print on demand company, which I don't think they have. I think they're actually printing up a whole run of t-shirts, and they shouldn't be doing that. Just stick to the purple tees, stick to the Mama Bear and Grandma Bear tees, and stray away from the of the moment tees. You don't want to have that stock sitting in a warehouse doing nothing for you. It's a waste of money, unless you have a print on demand vendor. I would also add a long sleeve tee to the line to layer up. I know that they've got the sweatshirts, but on those spring days and those autumn days, sometimes you just want a long sleeve tee. So I would make a long sleeve tee in either pink or teal to contrast with their basic purple shirts. A purple raglan shirt would also be an excellent choice. And if they ever make another batch of the vest, I would get, instead of the stonewash denim, I would get the navy denim, because this is just my opinion, I think that the crystals look better with a darker background. Should you donate to Moms for America? Should you, an elderly person on a fixed income who just got a mail piece from Moms for America, should you donate to them? And the answer is no, you should not. This is an AstroTurf organization that will do just fine without your $20. There is so much dark money pouring into this group. They don't need your low dollar donation. They're going to be just fine without you. If you care about the topics that they talk about, which is, when you get right down to it, it's mostly helping kids learn how to read, or helping them with their schooling. Read to your grandkids. Just spend more time with your grandkids. Volunteer at your local library. Libraries always need help with their children's programs. Help spark curiosity and joy of reading in the next generation of kids. If you find a right-wing extremists trying to infiltrate your local school board, I have a link that is a list of tools that you can use to help fight back against people like that moving into your area. Mostly it's just researching the people who are running for office and going to school board meetings. Those are the two big things. Just be more involved in your local politics, and that's how you keep little cretins out of your school board. I don't know if you noticed at the very beginning of this, I had a chart of the history of conservative women's organizations, and at the bottom I had a whole bunch of women's organizations. I had Moms for America, Moms for Liberty, Concerned Women for America, and Independent Women's Forum. And then I had a fake group called Patriotic Women for Freedom. That was a fake group I made up, and I made up a little logo for my Patriotic Women for Freedom. So this is the end of the video. This is very, very different than the videos I've done before. This is the first time I've done a merch buy. So was this fun? Did you think it was fun that I bought the merch? Did you want me to buy merch for more charities? I'll tell you, I have seen some this was crazy, awesome, and visually interesting for a YouTube video. I've seen some crazy stuff for sale in merch stores for charities. It's pretty wild. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want more junk mail in your life, please hit subscribe. I will never run out of bad charities to talk about. It's a never-ending font. If you are getting junk mail like Moms for America, like the people who are involved in Project 2025, if you're getting junk mail like that, I'm going to put a link to a video probably somewhere in this area right here. That is my battle plan to how to stop a major junk mail problem. So go and watch that video next. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you stop all of your junk mail.